Hello, everyone, and welcome back to a new episode Behind the Wealth. We have a guest today, one of our accountants, Ilias Dimopoulos. He's a senior accountant with Silver and Young Chartered Accountants, and we had a discussion regarding my podcast and what we do and how we can add value to different group of people. So Ilias was kind enough to bring some critical questions for me that I can try to ask. Everything we say here today is not a personal advice, it is a general advice. And if you have a question, please contact your accountant or your financial planner or give us a call. Hello, Ilias, and welcome to Behind the Wealth.
Hello, Dimitri. Thanks for having me.
So we had a discussion regarding the different stages of life and the financial planning that it could be attached in a different stage of life.
I was thinking that in the life of a person, basically, there are different stages. And obviously, traveling during those different stages, your needs and your goals and your wants also change. So I want to break it down based on decades and to ask you the questions so that you can answer.
All right, I'll try.
Okay, so
how we start? We start from the back to go to the youngest, or from the youngest to go to the oldest?
I think we'll start from the youngest. Okay, so let's start from the 20s. Let's start from someone in their 20s. So I'm 20 years old. I probably just finished uni, or I might studying, or I might finish my apprenticeship, or I'm just working, and I'm making some income. And you know what a 20-year-old wants, what every 20-year-old wants is to make $1 million. So how can I make $1 million?
Okay, I'm not sure I have the answer how to make $1 million in particular. But usually when we have people or clients or friends that in this age bracket between 20 and 30, usually what it happens, we ask them, and it comes a conversation, and the first question I ask, do you live with mom and dad or you moved out? Because a lot of young kids in Australia, because that's the mentality here, it used to be before a lot more than it is now. The young kids, or the young adults, I would say, when they grow older and they become 18, 19, they just leave home and they go on their own. So the advantage of you to stay home at the family home as long as possible, it is extremely important for your wealth creation in these first 10 years of your professional life, I would say, or working life. So one thing I would say is stay home as long as possible. Let your mom pampering you and cook your food and clean your room and enjoy this luxury as much as possible, because I have news to tell you. When you get married, it's not going to be exactly the same on the same level. So it works very well with finance as well. The other thing is probably, of course, if you are a uni student at 20 or you still or you start working, whatever it is, the fundamental of every wealth creation or to plan for your future is the cash flow. So if your cash flow, whatever it is, a lot or a little, you need to manage it. So how to manage it?
Hey, can I interrupt you there? Can you elaborate what is cash flow, right? So I don't know what cash flow is.
Okay, cash flow is how much money I earn every day. So every week I get $500 or $600 a week. This is cash in. And then I'm spending $50 for coffees and lunches, $100 for other expenses like car maintenance, $100, $200 to spend for sharing a room if I'm not at home, or contribute to the family expenses for the house. And whatever is left is say 50, 100, whatever it is, the balance of money. So cash flow is money comes in from your working or from your daily activity, and cash out comes out. So the most important is to determine how much of this money can put away to do something with them. for the wealth creation now in the big picture, everything plays a role. It is not one factor that it is really the only important factor. So cash flow and savings, it's very important. By staying home as long as possible, if that is possible, of course, it helps you to minimize your spending because you don't need to pay for rent as much as if you were in a different place. Thirdly, is having a car. I mean, the young, especially young fellows, men, when they go out of the school, they go and buy an expensive car relative to their finance, and then they spend a lot of money, upgraded, and this is money down to the drain. It's a very small, short period of pleasure, and then the car, of course, usually worth nothing or very little, and it is lost money, really, an effort that we could do a lot better for the future. The other thing is, of course, and probably the most important thing is your career path. What you're going to do with the next 30, 40 years of your life. And you see, most of us, we have a job. Most of us, we have a job. We don't have a career. We don't have and why I'm saying job. The job is go to 9 to 5 or 6 to 2. If you are in the building industry, 6 to 3, go there, show up, do whatever to do, and then go out. But in reality, you have to be more than that if you really want to go to the next level. Because this is the 99.9% of people do. They just show up for a job. But it can be more than that. So it's important to understand at this early age what sort of career you want to spend your life. Do I want to be an accountant? Do I want to be inside? Do I want to be in outside on the open space? I had a lot of people who they were builders and they have almost halfway degree accounting, an accounting degree. And when I asked them, why did you finish? He said, because I didn't want to be all my life inside on an office. I hate it. When I worked on summer, try to get some experience, I didn't like it. So that's fine. But determine that as early as possible and pick a career or a job. I prefer the word career for the long run. Something that really ticks you. Because I believe when you are good for what you do, and when what you love for what you do, you become good for what you do, and then the money will follow.
So just to try to summarize what you were saying here. So basically, one thing is work with my cash flow, with my money. So
Yes.
save some or put some on the side, don't spend all. The second one is invest in yourself, basically.
Correct.
Okay. Now, because the whole podcast is about creation of wealth, let's say I have some money and I manage my cash flow. There is an amount left on the side at the end of its week or its fortnight, depending on my payment cycle. But I'm 20. What do I do with that money? Do I put them in the bank?
Okay. Of course, it's all relative speaking. So if you have a small amount, say $500, $1,000, $5,000 maybe, you have no much choices except to really save them in the bank. And people don't value this because said, I don't make any money. The value is not on how much money you make out of the $5,000 you have in the bank. The value is the $5,000 becomes 5,500, 5,800. That's the value. Because what it is delayed gratification. And this delayed gratification at this stage pays a lot more in the future years. Plus, when you have then a sizable amount, say $10,000, or even with $5,000, really, you could do it, but the number is irrelevant. Then you can go and say, okay, what can I do with this? I can buy, for example, open a small share portfolio with CompSec, with NAB, anything, just vanilla, no fees, as much as cheap as possible. And you don't need to do really a guru. I mean, if you have someone around you who knows, you could probably give you some advice if you want, or someone experienced, or ask your accountant, probably not your accountant, he can't give you this advice, your financial planner, or your Dutch financial planner, and then put this $5,000, for example, in 3 shares or in 2 shares or in 4 shares. And don't need to really to be a guru in the share market. You just buy one bank, one major mining company, one telecommunication company, and one technology company. This will go longer, and we produce the 3 of them. They produce a good result, and the one we won't produce a very good result. It will probably be negative result. Give or take, in a year, 2 years, 3 years later, you're going to have a lot more than the $5,000, hopefully, and the continuous contribution of this, your savings every week or every month, you can add to that. And also, you need to leave, say, $500 or $1,000 on the side for your coffee, for a present to your girlfriend or to your Mother's Day, or to, you don't need to sell and it's all the money. So you have a small amount for every day, and you have your share portfolio.
So live, learn, invest.
Correct.
I would say in 3 words. There are products in the market. Like, I don't want to make I don't want to name any products because I don't want to make any placements, but there are products in the market now that they allow you basically to start with as little as $50 investing. Okay.
Ilya, can I say one more thing about the 20s?
Yes, of course.
One thing about the 20s also, you need to surround it with good friends. I know it's not about financial planning or money, but the influence your friends have on you at this stage of your life is more than your mom and dad. Because you know mom and dad for 14, 15, 16 years, 20 years, you know how they think, what they talk about, what the strengths, what the weaknesses. You really you've heard it, almost everything from them over the first 20 years. So the next 10 years now that you are in early 20s, you need to be surrounded with people, of course, with the same values, as a lot of times say, but also with capable people. Say, out of the 5 school friends that you finished when you were 18, pick the 2 or 3, they are career hungry, they have values, they are more decent people, not just fun people, or compartment your friends. This is a fun friend, we just do fun and have a couple of beers, and this is a serious friend, and this is a friend that I'm going to go advise. And feed these relationships. These help you a lot more to save and do the share portfolio, because you get feedback from them. You talk to them, they talk to you, they guide you somehow, you guide them. This interaction, it's a lot of value. And of course, if you have you are in a stage, you probably have a girlfriend. This is also important for money. That's why it's not just money, dollar sign. If you have a girlfriend or a relationship, say a boyfriend or a girlfriend, it needs to be also the same level somehow in the finance or in the values as a person who sees life and what is his life. Because if you really very much of career orientated in money, and your wife is, or your other half is very different, maybe now it is good and it is fine, but it's going to be always, some attraction. One goes this way, one goes that way, and it's hard for you to move and go further up. So I think the girlfriend, I've seen guys that are spending all the money and they found the perfect girlfriend that she was very money orientated, put them on a discipline, we need to do this, and they skyrocketed in savings, in this and that, in buying the first property, due to they had the discipline of the other half. But in the first 3-4 years after finished school, they're just marking around, spending money, aimless. They got the girlfriend, very good relationship. She is really, or the boyfriend, she is really very committed, very disciplined, very, everything has to be done in order. Perfect. They come a year, 2 years later, and they are unrecognizable. The other thing I would say also, when you start working in the 20s, it's the insurances. If you start working at the end of 20s. So for me not to be confused now, we're going to talk about 20s or 30s?
No, let's touch on the insurances. Do I need insurances? Basically, do I need to have insurance or think about insurance if I'm 20 years old?
On that very age, very young age, what is the most important insurance you can consider? Think about. I don't have really assets, or maybe I have some cash saved because I worked since 16 from McDonald's, but I have really 10, 50, whatever $1,000. And I have my work. I work as an apprentice, or I work part-time after uni, or anything. So if I'm really finished my university or my qualifications and I'm working full-time, doesn't matter if I'm a tradesman or professional or a salesperson or whatever, and then I have a regular income, it is good to consider to have income protection. What is income protection? It protects your income if something goes wrong with you in a matter of health for any reason. And then it pays you 75% of your current wages. So if your wages is $1,000 a week, it pays you $750 gross, before tax. As you get paid $1,000 before tax, they pay you $750 before tax. And this is what it does. It does the buffer, it does the protection that if you are sick for 6 months or you break your leg and there is a complication, then you sustain your income. But this is, of course, important to understand that is also relevant to your personal circumstances. So if you live at home with the protection of the bigger family or quite comfortable family, maybe at 20 you don't need it straight away, or 22 or 23, because if something happens to you, you're out of work, the family will support you. But if you are 24 and you are in different city or different town and you're renting for $400 and you work 2 jobs to make that, and you committed to a car lease, for example, or something like this, then it is appropriate to have that to protection. And also, I would like a lot of times to say, when we have this insurance, it's better to have when we are young and healthy, because we can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow. And maybe we cannot get insurance, or will be a lot of exclusions. Other insurances, do we need other insurances? No, really. Why do I have an insurance of 20, 25 years old young boy or young girl or lady for life insurance when she doesn't really, or he doesn't really have any loans, or he doesn't have any liabilities, major stuff? I mean, if someone past 20 years old, the mom and dad, of course, will cry and will really be devastated. They don't expect to have a payout out of the deceased, God forbid, son. But the most important, it is the life. It consider also the terminal permanent disability. And don't forget, these insurances, maybe already you have it as a 20, 25 years old young person already in your super. So
as a default,
you need to check it out from your super, because maybe you need to have it. Usually income protection, they don't have it. They have life and TPD. But the income protection, maybe you need to initiate it and can pay it out of super or out of cash flow and is deductible. So for a young person who just starts working and doesn't have any liabilities yet and no family, now turn it around. I'm 20 years old and I'm married. At 22, I have 3 children. Do I need insurance? Of course you need, because I have a 1-year-old child and another 3 years old child, and I'm 23. I mean, you say it's exaggeration. It's not exaggeration. I know many people have that. So 23, and I have 2 kids. I need the income protection insurance, because what's going to happen if something happens to me? And probably my wife is equally young like me, and also she doing her career. So different it is. And maybe I need a life insurance when I have two kids, even if I don't have a really a big loan. So to sustain and help my wife if something happens to me, to raise the kids, or have a choice not to what type of job is going to work, or type of job to choose to work, and to be an extra benefit for the family if I am deceased. I hope all of you enjoyed Behind the Wealth, the latest episode about different stages. We come back again with Ilias for the next stage. And thank you for listening to us. Till next time, have a good day.